Hello, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us. I see folks coming into our webinar today, so thank you. We're really blessed to have you with us. And hi, Mark. Nice to see you.
Hi, Lisa. How are you?
Doing really well. Doing
Good.
really well.
Me too.
It's a beautiful day here. Earlier, we had John Ruffin and Jill Schnipke on with us, and they're in the middle of a blizzard in Colorado.
Oh, wow. It's coming our way then.
Yeah, right. Welcome. I know folks are just coming onto the call. I want to give us just a minute to catch up and get the doorway open and say hello. Do let us know what part of the country you are, or world actually, you hail from. And in just a moment, we'll get started. All right. Welcome again. My name is Anissa Avon, and today's conversation is with Dr. Mark Freeman. Hello again, Mark.
Hello again. Hi, Rena.
Leading in a Crisis virtual summit. This talk is about mind as healer, mind as slayer, staying and remaining in your right mind. And it's going to be a little bit different than what we've done before. And I think you'll find it's very timely and appropriate. This is about stress management for HR professionals and will include some groundbreaking research regarding how we frame stress for good or for ill. And as we begin, I want to say thank you to our sponsors. Without our sponsors, our virtual summit would not have been possible. The Whitmarsh Consulting Group and the CEO, David Whitmarsh, has been very generous in helping us to get the word out. And their team is a super talented group that are just experts in the realm of multi-channel marketing as well as HR IT consulting. Also want to say thank you to Insperity, HR that makes a difference. If you've been on one of our talks already, then you know I'm pretty excited about the freebie that Insperity has offered up to our participants, our attendees. Insperity, I said, will you sponsor? They said, sure, sounds like a good cause, we're in. And then I said, well, great, let me push that a little further. Would you mind throwing in some kind of a freebie, some kind of a gift, something that's high value that our folks can say, wow, I'm really glad I did that. And they said, okay, how about a free HR financial analysis report and debrief? And I asked a little bit more about, okay, well, what does that look like? And what I found out was it looks like an HR budget analysis, a confidential report, and a one-on-one debrief. And this will require our business partner advisor over there at Insperity around 3 to 10 hours, depending on your organization, to put this together. And given the fact that there's not a single HR department in the world that hasn't been impacted and their budget hasn't changed as a result of this crisis, I think you'll find it very timely. Don't hesitate to take advantage of it. They know that not everyone that will take advantage of this offer is a good fit for them, and they're still here to serve. So you can find out more at turnkeycoachingsolutions.net/HR report, and that HR report is case sensitive. My name, again, is Anissa Avon, and I am the CEO of Turnkey Coaching and Development Solutions. We provide enterprise learning and development solutions and outplacement services and virtual training, as well as coaching, culture change, etc. But what I really want to share with you guys right now is I reached out to my internal team that week in March when we knew that things were about to change in our world. And I said, everything is about to change. We don't know what's going to happen. We know we have many clients who have laid off a lot of workers. We have other clients who've just shut their doors already. And all we know is that we have a lot to offer during times of crisis. We have over 1,000 experts in our immediate expert network that understand crisis management and how to work with remote teams, and Dr. Freeman, how to manage stress. And I said, well, what can we do? And instantaneously, our calendar has been filled with 40 plus subject matter experts that are giving away their time and their expertise during this virtual summit called Leading in a Crisis: Actionable Business and HR Strategies for Navigating Crisis and Change. Do check back often. Not all of our speakers are actually even on the schedule yet, so we're working hard to make that happen. It's going to be every Wednesday and Thursday in April, and then we'll look at the schedule for May. But right now we've got enough overflow that looks like we're going to be going into May also. Also, as a result of us looking to see what can we do to help, where can we be mindful of what our clients and peers are needing. And so we've put together quite a few packages, and one of which is a virtual training solution. If crisis management or crisis leadership or, oh gosh, crisis competence is something that you would like, training and development is something that you would love to give to your team, we're literally offering the programs for buy one, get one, or 50% off. Not because we're like, oh, please, hire us, but because we know that there are folks who need to make sure that the team they're retaining is performing at their best. And Mark has also graciously agreed to the program that you're here to learn more about today is also part of our BOGO events, and as well as his program. Gosh, was it just last week that you did the program on how to leading
warm
with
heart, how to solve conflicts with the warm heart and cool head.
That's it. How to solve conflict with a warm heart and a cool head has received more replay views than any of our other ones. If you haven't had a chance to check it out, do that. You'll be glad you did. So asked Mark to come back because Mark's an expert. He is a senior organizational development behavioral consultant. He has I wrote this down. I'm gonna fumble it. He has a PhD in counseling.
Counseling. Mm-hmm.
Yep, I got that one right. He is a licensed marriage and family counselor, and there's another counselor credential.
Licensed mental health counselor.
That's it. And so he doesn't share that a lot with our executive folks that we do coaching and training with, mostly because he also has all the credentials around executive training and executive coaching and business development and culture change that's required to be a really effective master trainer. But the reason it's relevant today is because stress management, wait for it, is important. Yep.
Very important.
So Mark, share with us, what are we going to learn? What makes you the expert on this?
So what we're going to learn is some new research on biology and physiology of stress in the way you frame it inside yourself, how you address it inside yourself from your thinking and your emotions can impact really your health. That's where it's mind is slayer or mind is healer. So today you're going to learn, how do I stay on the mind is healer side of the equation here so that I'm not subjecting myself to undue stress and possibly illness. So, and also this makes your capability as a leader, as an HR professional, phenomenal if you can make the shift that I'm going to talk about today.
Excellent.
So the first thing I want to do is have you chat in to your chat box in here, and I want you to answer, endorse and say, yes, I have that one. So how many of you had a little bit of stress over the last 2 months? A little bit.
Oh, I'm so glad the other question
had a moderate amount of stress over the last 2 months, or how many of you had a great deal of stress over the last 2 months? So that's important to kind of let you know.
Oh,
Thank you for doing that.
Yeah. So we've got everything from great deal of stress, high stress, moderate to great deal of stress, moderate, great. So no one is saying, I'm good. There's no stress in my life.
Good. Well, that's wonderful. So let's go to the next slide, and you'll see what I'm talking about here. This was actually a research study done. So they did this with a group of people, and they took 30,000 subjects and asked them if they experienced a lot of stress in the last year. And they also, if they believed that stress was harmful to their health. This is the bad news. 43% of those people had had a death rate that was higher than those who experienced less stress. But see what it says, who believed that stress was harmful to their health. Okay, so if you think about that, the research began to think about, well, what would happen over 8 to 9 years? Well, that would mean, based on their factoring, that 20,000 people would die prematurely from stress in America each year. And this was people who believe stress is bad for you, becomes the 15th largest killer in America in the cause of death scale. So I hope I've gotten your attention, because I want to raise the stakes that you must change that perception in yourself. Because the good news says people who experience a lot of stress but believe that stress was not harmful to their health, and rather engage them with stress as an asset, in the same study had lower rate of death, including people who had reported little stress in the study. And this is reality-based, because what they did is they look at the over 8 years who died and what they said about themselves. So if they hated stress and they thought it was awful for their health, they died more so than people who said, no, stress helps to energize me and help me, do more. And so I'm trying to make an argument for you that you need to change your mindset about how you view stress. You've got to take this opportunity right now to not see it as an obstacle or as a woe is me, but a challenge, something that you can really address and move toward and say, okay, now I can really move forward and do something in my life in these trying times. I'm going to step up. So the mindset shift that I'm asking you to have is that stress is your friend, not your enemy. It helps you. Your physiological response to stress is energizing you. You don't have to say it's making you anxious. You can if you want, because what you're paying attention to is my heart rate's increasing. What's wrong? My breathing's faster. I've got the sweats and my stomach is in knots. If you say, I'm scared to death, this is awful, then that's not the mindset I'm asking you to go into. If you go, oh, wow, my heart rate's increasing, my breathing's faster, I got the sweats and my stomach is in butterflies, I'm pumped. If you look at the football players on the side of a field just before a contest starts, they are pumped. Their adrenaline, they're using all that testosterone, all that adrenaline, and keeping their cortisol down by just getting ready to go out there. They're taking advantage of this process that takes you over. So I'm suggesting to you, how you label these things that are going on inside of you determines whether you'll think stress is a threat or a challenge. And I'm trying to get you to move to thinking about it as a challenge, because there's some things that go on physiologically that happen that are good for your body. Some people know about the oxytocin miracle. The oxytocin miracle is that it's a stress hormone. And if you see stress as a positive thing for yourself, whether you're in fight or flight, in whatever the situation may be, in sports, in theater, whatever, then this hormone secretes in your body, and it actually goes to your heart and helps regenerate tissue. It shrinks the opening in your arteries. So, it keeps the opening in your arteries large and open to give you more power and strength. If you're fearful and scared, it closes that opening. So I'm creating an argument for you that you've got to rearrange your self-talk. You've got to say that these physiological responses are good for me now. Let's use them to my advantage, not be feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm losing control. Look what's going on with my body. You know, without some stress, you're not alive. You look at children when they're fighting to learn how to walk or crawl or whatever. That's stress, and it's good. It's developmental. Stress is something that lets us know that we're developing and growing, and that there's, you know, you go toward hard things and opportunities to challenge you. There's no growth without stress. So I'm wanting a mind shift for you in a really bad way today, especially now in this crisis, especially HR professionals who need to present a competent leadership front. I mean, just watch any child who's learning a new developmental task, and you don't tell me that isn't stressful. And yeah, there's frustration, but they keep trying until they conquer it and do it. Watch a child and you'll see what I'm talking about. Okay, next slide.
So I have a question about that, and tell me if we're going to get to this a little bit later. What you're saying here is a little bit contradictory. That's not the right word because it's not contradictory, but a lot of the research really only focuses on how bad stress is for us. And the research itself actually makes that case. Stress is bad. And you're saying this new science, this new research is really telling us stress is a part of life, but our perspective on that stress dictates whether or not it's bad for us. Is that right?
Exactly. And when you determine that it's an obstacle to overcome and it's good for you developmentally, you secrete hormones that are advantageous to your heart and your body. Now, that changes your mindset big time. So you're in control of that. So if you're sharing your self-talk as you're driving to the airport and you're going, oh my gosh, you know, I'm going out skiing into Colorado. Oh gosh, I got to get in the cab and, you know, I'm going to crash in the airplane, and you're saying all that stuff as you're driving there. You pull in and you take your suitcase. Oh, I'm one step closer to getting on the plane. And you do that all the way to where you're getting on the plane, and somebody else is in the same car with you all the way there. And they're saying, oh man, I can't wait to get to the airport. I can just see myself on the sliding down the slopes and doing this. Oh, I can't wait for the plane to take off. I love turbulence. That's a different kind of self-talk. You know, I am so weird. I say I love turbulence because it makes me sleepy and helps me go to sleep on the plane. Most people are petrified of turbulence. What if you relabel some of these things that are detrimental to you and turn them into positives?
Wow. Thank you for those examples. Kristen, I just wanted to repeat what she has written. Stress as your agent for change.
Absolutely. All right. I love that. Keep saying that and say that to your whole company. All right. Another stress test. Okay. The people on west of the Mississippi, here's what your goal is. I want you to say to yourself 10 times right now, I'm dumb and stink at math. Say it 10 times if you're west of the Mississippi. I'm dumb and stink at math. If you're east of the Mississippi, I love math puzzles. I can't wait till Mark gives us this math puzzle. I am pumped. I am ready. So here we go. I want you to pick a number between 1 and 10 and write it down somewhere. Keep it in your mind. You got to listen well, because if you don't pass this math test, which is a wrong 2 S's instead of a T there. How about that for imperfection for me? Anyway, the idea is I want you to take a number 1 to 10, remember it, and then you're going to be in a math test. So if you have math anxiety, I want you to, if you're west of the Mississippi, go ahead and let the math anxiety roll. East of the Mississippi, let the reverse roll. Okay, here we go. So pick a number from 1 to 10. Okay,
10,
now.
10 being high stress?
No. What? Just write the number down.
Number. Oh, I gotcha. Okay.
Just pick a number. Multiply that number times 9 for a product. So you probably have a 2-digit product. I want you to add the first number to the second number for a sum. So for example, if I had 9 times 2, 18, I would add 1 and 8 together. Okay, so do that. So take your number and add the first digit to the second digit for a sum. Okay, we're not done. Subtract by 5. Okay, now you have a single number on your page. One single number on your page. I want you to think about that number and where does that number line up with the alphabet? If it's 26, your number, that would be Z. If it's B, it would be 2. 2 would be B. So whatever the number is, where does it line up with? So write the letter that starts with that number and make a big capital letter in your mind or on the paper. Think of a country that starts with that letter. Are you getting tired?
Yes.
Those of you west of the Mississippi, I know you're getting tired. You hate this is awful. Stop, Mark, stop. East of the Mississippi, you're pumped, you're pumped. Okay, go on, Mark, go on. All right, so you got your letter. Think of a country that starts with that letter. Okay, look at the second letter of your country and choose an animal that starts with the second letter of your country. Okay, you got it? Okay, so now there you are. And I'm going to ask you a question. It's not a gray elephant from Denmark, is it? How many of you had that? What? Anybody have that on the chat?
Mandy raised her hand and someone else just raised their hand. Eel from Denmark.
An eel from Denmark. So it just proves my point, okay? You were probably, my colleagues, I'm in Florida, so when I do this in Miami for clients down there, I get the orange orangutan from the Dominican Republic or the ostrich, okay? Because the second letter is that. It could be an elephant from Denmark, it could be an eagle.
Wow.
But the average person chooses the gray elephant from Denmark. Why? Because as a kid, the first giant animal you see in the zoo is this big gray pachyderm, right? And if you were raised in school in North America, you know Denmark more than any other country that starts with a D, just because that's what you learned. Okay? Rena, I saw she got the orangutan because she's married Hispanic men all her life.
You're so funny.
So,
I think there's some insider trading going on.
So anyhow, my point here is that it's a rule of 9s and base 10, okay? Rule of 9s and base 10 is that you're always going to get, when you multiply two numbers together, 2 times 9 is 18, 1 plus 8 is 9, minus 5 is always going to give you 4. 4 is going to line up with Denmark. So this proves my point to you. And if you were stressed out because you were west of the Mississippi and you didn't do this very well, you probably coached yourself into not doing very well. If you were east of the Mississippi, you probably did fine with this. But my point in showing you this is that look at how easy it is for your train of thought to go to a negative place or to a familiar place. And I'm asking you today to be unfamiliar with stress. See stress as your asset, as a healer, and not your liability. Use it as it's supposed to be used, as part of your strength and challenge. The other thing that oxytocin does is called the hug drug. It really makes you generous. It makes you generous and altruistic. There's somebody here in Florida, a woman who's an out-of-work teacher, and she started a group called the Army of Angels. And then she's got an army of people that deliver food all over Central Florida. And I'm part of that army. And it feels great that I do that once a week. And I know the oxytocin is helping my heart when I do so. And I know I'm helping the community. And she's doing a ton in that regard. Okay, so that's when you get charged. Your stress response gets overactive. there's only one thing you possibly can do to get out of this. The problem with most people is they say, okay, I just gave that presentation. I'm so wired, I can't sit down. I'm walking around, I'm talking to everybody, I'm speaking fast. Oh, I had a car accident. I can't sit still. I'm moving around doing. It's because your body sympathetic nervous system has ignited this process of fight or flight to take care of you, to get you out of danger. The only way you can get to stress management is to discharge that adrenaline. So what does that mean? What does that mean to discharge the adrenaline? It means that you have to do the very first thing you do when you're charged up, after you're done with whatever you've done, presentation, etc. You've got to go out and turn the adrenaline down. And that comes through cardiovascular exercise, a power walk, a run, a bike ride. That's relatively long because you're trying to get that adrenaline out of the system. So you need to physicalize it. It's ridiculous to do breathing exercises or muscle relaxation or meditation when you're already charged. You've got to get the charge out of there. When the charge is there, use it to your advantage. When it's still there, you've got to do cardiovascular. Really, I don't care if I got clients that get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and walk 3 miles because they can't sleep. That's fine. You got to get that charge out of your body. It's there. It's time. It's not time to chill. It makes you more anxious when you've got that adrenaline, and it allows those negative thoughts to just go and go and go. You've got to do something physical that drops that energy down so your mind isn't spinning in circles. Do you see what I'm saying? So the very first step of stress management is to take care of the charge and get the charge back to where you're relatively fatigued or exhausted. Step number one. So that's what a lot of people don't do. They just think that they're going to be able to relax and do some calming exercises when they're all charged up. Doesn't work. Sorry, folks. You got to do something physical.
The analogy that comes to mind, you remember when we were kids, we would get on, it wasn't a merry-go-round. It was that spinning thing. Or maybe it's one of those, that go-round thing. You know what I'm talking about? Where if you get going so fast,
super dizzy.
Yeah, you can't move because your body's doing this. Yeah. And you remember as kids, part of the fun was, jumping off of it and then not being able to get your equilibrium for a few minutes. You're walking and you're stumbling. And what you're saying is that I don't think a lot of us understand that when we're charged, there absolutely has to be the first step is acknowledging the charge and then doing something physical to move out of it. How does an HR professional or a leader that's recognizing, let's say, the stress in the room, the charge in the room, the fear, the anxiety of a group or their employees, it's not like they can say, now everyone, we're going to do 10 jumping jacks, or can they?
No, not really. I think you have to acknowledge what the energy is in the room and help people understand it's okay to be there. So the stakes being high and your emotions are running high. But I would highly recommend, an HR professional does a lot of employee relations work, and people come in charged up. Sometimes what I like to do, and I do with my clients all the time, when they're in that space, they can't listen, it's hard to talk. We take a brisk walk outside. We do something that gets them to where they're physicalizing that adrenaline, that overcharge. Because then it's easier for them to come down from that sympathetic nervous system, which is taken over their body. So anyway, you're right. An HR professional can't do that. But and in those situations, sometimes acknowledging what's really going on in the room and not trying to deny that it's there, allow people to express fear, allow them to express what they are. Because the other thing is that we need to ventilate whatever this experience is. You're hearing me saying, why don't you change your mind, change your mind. One of the ways to change your mind is to ventilate what you're feeling and thinking to make the fear go down. And that's really all this is fear. It's generated by fear that sets this off. And if we can shift it from fear to challenge and joy, that's usually what makes the big difference. Okay.
All right.
So the next slide. All right. So we call this returning to homeostasis. Let's say you've exercised and, you know, the spinning thoughts are a little better. Then there's a lot of things you can do in the chill zone. One area is breathing, another muscle relaxation, visualization, and meditation. So I want to give you a couple of examples of each and use one as a takeaway, whichever one seems like it might be, wow, I kind of like that one. I like that breathing exercise. I didn't like this one. If it's one you like, that's your takeaway from today. If you take away just one thing from this whole talk today and you practice it because you kind of liked it, I'm going to simulate some of them for you. Okay, so those are the 4 categories. And you see what we're doing. We're returning the body to the pre-fight or flight stage, which is called parasympathetic nervous system. But it's easier for you to remember to call it the chill zone.
The chill zone.
Breathing, muscular relaxation, visualization. Think of all the body parts that you need to work with to calm yourself down. These are really 4 that I think are essential. So let's go to the next one, next slide. And I'm going to talk about and demonstrate diaphragmatic breathing. So right now I want you to put your left hand on your chest and your right hand on right above your belly button. And we're just going to do 4 breaths. What we want to do is just sit back and take a deep breath in, but I want you to be able to push your diaphragm out, which is where your right hand is. Push your stomach out as far as you possibly can with a deep breath that goes deep in your lungs, not a shallow breath that comes from when you're running really fast. So let's do 4 breaths like that. Breathe in through your nose and exhale through your mouth. Three. Just notice that slight difference, that slight calming that comes with that. Here's a really good visual for you. Think of a baby in a crib who's just wearing a diaper. Their chest remains perfectly calm, but that tummy is going in and out and in and out and in and out. They're not afraid of being fat or skinny, and they just let that diaphragm rip. That's what we're looking for. You're all by yourself, let the diaphragm go in and out, just like it does, which I call the Buddha baby. So it's Buddha baby breathing.
Excellent.
Okay, another one is alternate nostril. For those of you east of the Mississippi that like math, watch me. You put your thumb on your right nostril, and you're going to in-breath very fast to a count of 4. You're going to close with your baby finger on your right nostril, and then you're going to count to 8 as you slowly exhale. So here we go. So one full repetition is going both ways. So it's in with the left nostril to a count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Close your left nostril with your baby finger. 5, 6, 7, 8. Slow release. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What that does, it circumvents your negative thinking or any thinking because you're concentrating on the math. 1, 2, 3, 4. Close. 5, 6, 7, 8. Release. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In through the other nostril. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Close. Release. So it's very methodical. Some people absolutely love that because it just circumvents their thinking process. The third is simply observational breathing. Observational breathing is all you do is close your eyes and pay attention to your breathing. Let's just do that for 10 seconds. Just watch and feel the rise and fall of your air leaving and coming into your body. Okay, so notice how different you feel just focusing on either diaphragm breathing, nostril breathing. It just slows down that pacing. So if you've had your exercise, it kind of gets you into the chill zone. Because breathing is our first force of life, meaning that if it's gone, we're not living, it's the best place to start with all that I'm talking about, because it starts to begin that calming process through breath. Okay, so mark one of those down and say, I'm going to give alternate nostril breathing a shot. I really kind of like observational. There's not a lot of work. I'm just watching myself breathe. Or, ooh, I like the diaphragm beating. I like baby Buddha. I want to do that. So those are 3 options for you. That is very important and always the first step in stress management. Questions for me, Lee?
Yeah, I do have a question for you. And folks, if you're listening in and you have a question, don't hesitate. But okay, so Mark, you work with a lot of executives, a lot of C-suite leaders, a lot of director level leaders. How often are you using this with them? Or actually, let me ask what I really want to know. What I really want to know is those that are the most effective, what is their level of stress or stress management techniques?
So I'll offer these options. And if I'm doing one-on-one, they feel pretty safe with me experimenting with them and trying them. And I'll get feedback. Wow, Mark, when I went to the bathroom when I was really mad at my team, I did diaphragmatic breathing and it really helped me come back into myself. I'm not asking them to present this to the whole group. This is a private self-management, getting back into your right mind phenomenon. So you notice now you're in your right mind now because we're getting back into parasympathetic, which means you're slowed down. Your mind's back online. So my executives actually love this in privacy because they see it as a competitive advantage.
Yeah.
To be able to manage their emotions through their breathing. So I love using these skills. And at first there's resistance, Anissa, no doubt. And then when they use it once, it's like one and done. Executives, if something works, they're going to use it. Yeah. You know how it goes. So those are 3 techniques.
Very good.
Progressive muscle relaxation is another one of my favorites, is that we hold a ton of tension in our muscles. So just step by step, you work through each part of the body. You flex and release each muscle. And then you progress slowly from feet to head through all the muscle groups. You ask the person to measure 1 is completely relaxed and 10 is fully flexed, like you're ready to, do whatever, do something with the most muscle physical exertion it takes. 10 would be that. 1 would be totally relaxed. And I'm going to walk you through it. And I'm just going to do a couple areas and then tell you how to do it yourself. All right, so let's just do it with a couple of places that a lot of people don't even think they hold stress, or they know they hold stress. So close your eyes and I want you to focus on, you're at your computer, and I want you to raise your shoulders up to your ears and hold them really, really tight. Tense them up to 10. Hold them to 10. 1, 2, 3, release. Just let them drop. Wow, how many of you are familiar about that space when you're on the computer and you create muscle tension from your shoulders? Okay, that's one spot, but that's just one muscle group. We start with the feet and go to the head. After this experience, I have a lot of people fall asleep. They just are so chilled because it's so relaxing to be able to know, wow, 1 is fully relaxed and 10 is fully flexed. Where am I in my shoulders now? And they can say, I'm kind of a 5. Well, how do I get rid of it? Go to 10, go to 1, go to 10, go to 1. And then they can start to manage muscle tension. And it helps a lot with muscle tension headaches. Anyway, once you do this with your whole body, you feel a sense of tingling, and you notice that lower extremities can be more relaxed than high. So let me do a couple ones that people don't normally do that are really important to do. And they're in your face. So
Here it
close your eyes.
goes.
Huh?
Said, here it goes. We're going to make funny faces.
Yep. So the first thing I want you to do is to raise your eyebrows as high as you can and try to go to flex to 10. Reach up to the sky. 10, fully 10. Then release them. And feel the difference in your forehead between 1 and 10. Interesting, huh? Another one, scrunch your face up to the bridge of your nose and make yourself look like a prune for a couple seconds. 1, 2, 3, prune. Release. Feel the flexation, a relaxation in your facial muscles. Well, those are a couple examples, but you do the whole face, you do all your arms, make a fist. And then because I worked in a college, I work in a college setting, and sometimes students would want, give me a 30-second break. Okay, so we're going to do a 30-second break on muscle relaxation. You ready? I want you, when I say to count of 3, to flex everything that you can feel in your musculature. I mean, your feet, your shins, your thighs, your butt, your stomach, your chest, your back, your face, and we're going to hold for 3 seconds and release. This is a 30-second progressive muscle relaxation. You ready? On a count of 3, flex everything. 1, 2, 3. Release. Big cleansing breath. Sometimes you can do that if you're working on a long project in your HR department, you got to get a report out, and you just need to take a quick break. You can do that version of the progressive muscle relaxation a couple of times. Why progressive muscle relaxation? Because it's another place where you hold that tension that you're unaware. We're increasing your awareness of your body and where flexing is coming from, okay? And where relaxation is and where minor amount of tension is. When you can begin to say where you are 1 to 10 in your muscles, that awareness allows you to let go more. Thoughts, Anissa?
Yeah, so a couple of things. This is tying back to, we're stressed. We're not going to have time to run around the block. We can't necessarily do jumping jacks with our team, but there's nothing preventing us from tightening our fists under the table and then releasing them. There's nothing preventing us from, in the moment, taking a deeper breath and centering ourselves.
If you close your door for 10 minutes and do your favorite breathing exercise and this, you're really in a different space when you come out of this 10 minutes later, because you are, first of all, you're proactive. You're monitoring your physiology and getting it where it needs to be, where your best thinking is. That's my thinking, is that we're trying to get to our staying and remaining in your right mind. These are 2 techniques that allow you to do that. Okay.
Mandy had a question. That's perfect. Thank you. Mandy has a question. How do I manage monkey mind while practicing my breathing relaxation exercises? We all want to know this.
Okay, that's a great question. One of the best things you can do with monkey mind is, if you stress about monkey mind, that's the worst thing you can do. So whatever meditation or activity you're doing, like maybe you're forgetting you're counting on alternate nostril breathing, it's okay. Just gently come back to, oh, what was I doing here? I got to get back to what I was doing. But don't force yourself or judge yourself that your mind is going all over the place. One of the reasons your mind is monkey mind is because fear and anxiety are generating the sympathetic nervous system, so you're spinning in your brain, okay? So the aerobics, the doing something that gets the adrenaline out of the system modifies monkey mind a little bit. But I'm going to tell you something. Can I save that question and address it when we get to meditation? Because I really want to share something with you that will make some sense of how it takes a little time to get rid of monkey mind, but if you do your due diligence, you can really make it happen. going and
Perfect. And I've got one more question for you. Rena says, so you do that full body flex tension and then relax intermittently for 30 seconds?
It's like anything in the gym. You do 2 repetitions, full flexing, release. The 30 seconds is how much time it'll probably get you to have you do it. Do 2 repetitions that take 30 seconds. So flex, release, take a cleansing breath. So you discharge the muscle tension also through your breath. Wait a couple minutes and do another one. So it only takes 2 repetitions for you to really feel a difference in muscle tension. Mm-hmm. So I hope I answered that question correctly, but it's just 2 repetitions. And I'm just saying, in general, it takes about 30 seconds to go through that process.
Okay.
All right, next slide. Okay, so probably my favorite thing is the favorite place visualization, because this is customized only to you. So everybody has a different favorite place in the universe that they like to go, which is pure. It's stress-free. It's a happy place. It doesn't have any negativity to it. It could be the creek where you used to fish as a kid. Could be the beach. Could be a cabin in the woods. It's your own special place. I always ask my clients or my executives, you're going to say, this is going to sound a little woo-woo, but I want you to tell me where your favorite place is, because we're going to do an exercise where you actually visit that place. And rather than listening to what might occur on, an app, which is going to be somebody else's idea of what you should be doing in a guided imagery, this is yours. This is customized to you. And it's going to be tailored to you. So the conversation that I have with people in a very calm voice is that first they close their eyes, they're lying on a couch, and they notice their body weight against the couch. Just be aware of your breathing, like the observational breathing. And then I'll have them, be aware of your heart rate. Put your attention in your heart. Feel the rhythm of your heartbeat. All right, move to your carotid artery and feel your pulse there without touching it, like you do when you're running. And then put your awareness in your forehead, and you can feel the gentle pulsing there. Now, if you're particularly discerning, put your awareness in your right index finger at the tip and notice the rich exchange of oxygen and nutrition all the way out at your fingertip. So I'm really strengthening awareness so they go into a deep state of relaxation. And then where you go for your special place in the world for respite. And I ask you to, and so I'll say, okay, now you're traveling to the mountains of Colorado, and you feel the snow against your skis. You smell the crisp air, and you feel the temperature tingling against your cheeks. Feel your heart beating in your chest as you're ready to go down the slope. You smell you listen to the sounds of the winter birds that are present in the pine trees, and you hear the wisp of the wind through there. So what I'm doing is having them go to their special place, and then I'm bringing all their sensory awareness through the 5 senses of what it's like to be there. And you would not believe how relaxing that is, to be able to go to that place and shut out the world for 20 minutes. It's phenomenal. So I highly recommend you have a friend tape it for you. Your friend with a really good voice, tape the experience. And I'm happy to help anybody with that. But basically, it's that way. So it can take 20 minutes. If you do the breathing, the muscle relaxation, and this, my clients walk out on cloud 9. Wow. Because whatever was there before is not there. And because you're focusing on your favorite place and it's so compelling, there is no monkey mind. Because you want to be there so bad. I even have people cry because they haven't gone there, and they just get a tear in their eye because they miss that special place. It's not because it's sad, it's just because they miss it. They miss the experience of being able to go to some place that is so renewing and so refreshing and so amazing. And you don't think you're ready to tackle a problem after doing this? You really are. You really are able to tackle things from coming out of this. So you slowly bring them back to the present, and they're aware of their breathing and heart rate. They wake up, and then I have people report what it was like to me. Did you hear everything? Did you smell everything? How bright were the pictures? Could you feel the temperature of the air against your skin? Almost everybody tells me, yeah, it was amazing. How is that possible that I can go there and bring all that awareness to it? So this is my favorite thing because it's so customized and tailored to the individual.
Very nice.
All right, so there are lots of choices, right, on meditation. My wife and my daughter love yoga. It's a movement meditation. Does help with the monkey mind because it's guided and you have to do poses and things. So it helps quiet the mind because you're busy doing two things. You have to have this cadence in your breath, which is calm. And they keep telling you, well, you stop breathing, you stop breathing. And you get watched to make sure you're still breathing. You're not stopping breathing. And you do these poses. And the poses aren't important to get them just perfect. It's just to be able to put yourself in that position. And it's very distracting of the monkey mind to be able to go through the sequence of poses in yoga. So that's another thing that helps with monkey mind a little bit. It gives you a respite for an hour or 90 minutes to have it go away because you're so busy trying to replicate poses and breathe at the same time. And the good facilitator comes around as you're not breathing, or that pose, you don't push yourself to do that pose where you're going to hurt yourself. Do it halfway. I was trained at 1972. Sorry, probably tells how old I am. In transcendental meditation, because the Beatles did it, I wanted to do it. And it was my freshman year of college, and I got trained in transcendental meditation, which is essentially you're given a mantra based on your age. And you repeat that mantra over and over again. And your monkey mind takes you away and you go off somewhere else. And you're like, well, where am I? Oh yeah, I got to start saying my mantra again. So you gently come back to your mantra. You go away again, you come back to your mantra because monkey mind takes over. But it's a gentle process because you're just bringing back when you notice that you're off track. So it's not a judgment. It isn't I'm doing wrong because I can't stop my thinking. It's just that you're gently coming back with your mantra to the place with no judgment attached to it. So that helped me a lot when I was young, TM. And so I recommend that. I don't do TM anymore. And then the third one is Kundalini Yoga, where you're really working through the energy centers from your the root chakra into the ground through the top of your head. And you're kind of following your spine through these energy pathways, Kundalini Yoga. So that's another one you might want to look into. My favorite is the last one, Vipassana meditation. I go to these 10-day silent retreats in Jessup, Georgia, and you're not allowed to talk or look at anyone. You eat vegetarian food. And the first 3 days, all you're doing is focusing your breath on your nostrils and the area where your mustache is. And you're not saying a mantra, but you're really, just focusing on that area for 3 days. And then the next 10 days, you're doing body scans. So that's my favorite because it really helps bring wisdom and intelligence, and helps me calm myself in times like this. So that's my true preference is that last one because it's hard too. It's a meditation boot camp for 10 days in total silence with 30 men and 30 women. I saw something that someone said they couldn't hear something.
Yeah. Sheila just said, I would really have trouble not speaking for 10 days.
Everybody does. It's funny, Sheila, you would because you're an extrovert. But, what I find is that we, we I consider myself an ambivert, meaning I can do both directions, extrovert or introvert, depending that, which is nice to have a balance. But when I got through the 8th day, I was like, oh gosh, I mean, we have to start talking again. I don't want to talk to anyone. This has been great. This has been wonderful, because you're in what's called noble silence. And noble silence is you won't lie. You won't exaggerate or lie. So you follow these precepts that are assigned to you, and noble silence is that. And so you come out of noble silence to noble speech,
Wow.
which is truth telling. But, you know, in the 9th day, I didn't want to come back. All right, so let's wrap up. You can change your physiology. I hope you saw that just in this brief demonstration, both your breathing, your muscles, and meditation practices that you use. Changing your physiology is all what it's about, because it helps you remain in that positive stress. Stress has 2 words, distress or eustress. Eustress is positive. I'm making stress, eustress, positive in my life. It's spelled E-U stress. Distress is D-I-S-S-T-R-E-S-S. We want to stay out of distress, and we want to remain in your right mind, which is in the eustress mind, okay? So that's the goal of these activities. Curb your assumptions about others. Usually you're wrong. And that negative assumption you have about somebody else is disturbing you, not them. I love this quote. What other people think of you is none of your business. Stress is your friend. See stress as a motivator. Some anxiety, as long as it's not, you know, horrible, debilitating anxiety, is useful to grow and develop in whatever you're doing in your life, whether you're learning how to fly or learning how to walk. And you can change your perception of most anything by deciding and choosing to counter the negative statement you may have automatically going inside. So you have to use your due diligence and counter any negative statement. So I had a perception of myself. I don't know how much time I got. Oh boy, I'm going to tell this story. I had a perception of myself that I was dumb, because I had to repeat the 3rd grade, and my best friend took my desk from 4th grade to 3rd grade, and I went down to where my sister was, and it was humiliating, and I decided, belief system, that I was stupid. When I was 50 years old, I crossed the stage and got my PhD, and I let go of that belief, and it's been very different since then. It's a shame that somebody has to hold on to a belief for nearly 50 years because of some negative thing that occurred younger in their life. So I'm asking you not to do it. Whatever that negative belief is, let it go. It's not true. It's all fake. So you can change your perception of almost anything. When you look back on painful experience that you've had in your life, most of you will say, I always ask people in a group, did you grow more from your pain and an adversity experience or from your achievements? To a person, they say, I always grew more from my pain than from joy. You know, I'm not suggesting that you should go to pain, but it really grows you up. Stress reduction activities are in your sphere of influence, and anybody can learn to manage their stress and lower the physiological response after you've been emotionally charged. It's a great practice to keep yourself healthful. Even though you might see stress as something that's totally positive, it's nice to be able to have control over your own body.
Wow, fantastic, Mark. Thank you. And, you know, one thing that I want to mention about Mark's work is, you know, if you're looking for opportunities for yourself to manage stress, that's what this is going to give to you. Your conversation today. But I also want to say that even if this is not the work he brings into organizations, which sometimes it does have flavors of this, but what he does do is use science and research and principles of effective team development, effective conflict management, conflict resolution, and stress management inside his workshops, including his virtual training. So do reach out if Mark can be of service. Reach out if Turnkey can be of service. If your organization organization is going through layoffs and having to look at outplacement services, we have a number of programs that I'd love the opportunity to speak to you about, including our name your own price options. So thank you, Mark. That was very different than what I had anticipated, and I loved every second of it. Thank you.
So I'm going to head out and do a bike ride because I'm all emotionally charged up.
Well done. Well done. Just want to say real quick, Judith says, thank you so much for this presentation. Can we have the slides, Kathy? You bet you can. We'll make those available. Mandy says, I feel inspired to incorporate these activities in my life to reduce my stress. Thank you for the presentation. It was awesome. And Rena says, this was great. Headed out for a bike ride too. Awesome. Thank you as always, Mark.
Bye-bye, Anissa.
Bye. Thank you, everyone.